I'm Deborah Borchardt, and this is your midday market update. Well, all the indices for right now are in the red territory. We are seeing some selling, but I got to tell you that NASDAQ is teetering pretty much flat because it keeps going back and forth between green and red. But really what we're going to talk about is that 1,000-page Volcker rule that came out. Now they postponed the vote because of the snow, but the rule is out, and I'm going to talk to Keith Bliss from Cuttone about that. So Keith, you know, when I got the first glance at these things, I thought it was going to be a lot more strict than it is, and it seems very watered down. You know, one thing that really got me was that they want the firms to be self-compliant, but they've always been that way, and I don't see where there's any strict rule here.
Well, you're right. It's for a 1,000-page document, it's totally vague in many respects. I mean, some of the things you can understand, what they really don't want them to do is to take depositors' money and place bets with it, but you know, where I come down on the side of the things, and I'll get back to the self-compliance thing in a minute, where I come down on the side of things is, aren't they placing bets with depositors' money anyway when they go out and make loans to companies? I don't understand the difference really in the risk profile between making a loan, especially to a mortgage loan to a subprime borrower, than it is actually going out and making a qualified trade trying to hedge out risk either inside of the portfolio or against some other business activity. But about the self-compliance, you're right, it is much of a gray area. The one tricky issue, I think, for bank CEOs, and this is where you're going to see them push back, and they've probably already got a battalion of attorneys that are going to sue against this rule, is that bank CEOs are now required to sign off that they are in compliance with the Volcker rule. The issue you have is in 2015 when the examiners start coming in and examining all their activities and say, well, you're out of compliance with the Volcker rule, but yet you signed off that you are in compliance with the Volcker rule. What happens then? Do the bank CEOs leave themselves out there for some legal ramifications, because the interpretation is a little bit different than what CEOs have to do today with Reg FD, for example, which is pretty cut and dried. You're either disclosing public information in a private meeting or you're not. That's what I think. I think there's major issues with the loopholes and the interpretation side of the rule, which you're citing right now. The 5 regulatory authorities are going to sign off on it anyway. They're going to go ahead and start to put it in place. It's one of those things where we'll just put it in place and we'll amend it as we go along.
All right, well, one of the things that I also thought was kind of almost amusing was that every trading desk has to have a mission, and they have to write out their mission. And maybe they're just trying to get them to say, we're going to trade this, this, and that, and that's all we're going to do. But I mean, everybody's mission is to make more money, right?
Of course it is. You know, when I read that too, my first thought was George Orwell, where are you? I mean, we've really gotten to a point where government is trying to dictate things as touchy-feely as mission statements on the desk to comply with the rule. I mean, I understand that they're trying to curtail risky activities, especially the big banks that are systemically important to the financial services arena. You probably do that. My own personal thought is that the general market will do that. Maybe they could have had the banks raise their disclosure statutes so that if you saw a bank that was investing in sovereign debt of some third world nation, you decide not to deposit your money there. Maybe that's the better way to go in some cases. But yeah, the whole mission statement thing, the banks having to tell exactly what they're doing and that they're only hedging against risk inside of legitimate businesses and comparable hedging, I think it's just open up for a lot of interpretation on both sides. They'll never meet in the middle. You're going to have the people that think it doesn't go far enough, the lobbyists, they're going to be lobbying right now, and then the ones that think it's too tough, like I said before, they've already got their lawyers ready to go, and they're going to sue against that law. We may not see the implementation of something like this for a long time to come.
All right, well, I'm going to let Keith get back to his mission of making more money. I'm going to get back to my mission of telling more news. That's Keith Bliss, and I'm Deborah Borchardt with The Street.